last week was freaking sick. It was so much fun. I love St. Ives. I'm gonna check this and make sure it's okay first. We had a really exciting week. The first couple days, we didn't really do much. I think that Rachel and I both tried to get a lot of work done and catch up with some things before we left on Wednesday to go down to St. Ives in Cornwall for a couple of days. It was 10 times more stunning than I expected. We had originally hoped to take a bus just for cost, but because of COVID there are definitely still limited options. So we did take a train down, and we just had to switch like 20 minutes before we got to St. Ives and take like a different, more local train. It was actually really cool because when we got in on Wednesday it was like 9 p.m. so it was already pretty much dark. We could tell that we were right by the water, but we couldn't really see much of anything other than the lights in the town. And so waking up Thursday morning, it was such a cool surprise to see how truly incredible that little town is. We went and grabbed some breakfast and actually it was lunch. We went and grabbed lunch because we slept in a little bit and just kind of hung out for a little bit. And then I had one of my modules still, so I did go to that, but I got to do it from the balcony of where we were staying at our Airbnb, and the view was incredible. It was kind of giving me like south of France vibes from when I was there. Like, it reminded me just the blue water and the little town, and it was just really cool. And yeah, so the weather on Thursday was absolutely immaculate. It was supposed to be kind of gross in the morning and then get nicer, but we ended up getting a completely nice day. At one point there were basically no clouds in the sky, and so I was able to see just how blue the water actually is. After my class we went and explored some more, just saw the beautiful green, very typical English hillside sort of deal, but it was by the ocean and it was amazing. We had a really nice dinner at this tapas place that was also by the water, and it was so interesting because the tide went out so far. Like, I'm obviously used to the water line changing on beaches, but there is this little alcove kind of by the main center of town, and it was just completely empty by the end of the day, which was interesting to see how that like worked, I guess. So yeah, we did get really lucky on Friday with how beautiful it was as well, because after that a storm was coming in and it's supposed to be absolutely awful there for the rest of the week, so we really did get the best few days to be there. We got to do a 3-hour boat tour and just be out on the ocean and see all of the amazing areas that we were around, and it was really nice to just be back on the water. You know that I love I love things like that, but it was also really cool to be able to do some things outside and have a very COVID safe trip. I know I talk about that all the time, but it's just, I'm still trying so hard to be careful and cautious, and I think that we managed to do that really well, which made me glad. I think that that's important. I don't want to forget that I am only here for a short time and I don't want to put other people at risk. All of that being said, it was a beautiful day. We ended up walking over to St. Michael's Mount afterward. St. Ives is on the northern coast of Cornwall, and then Penzance is like directly south of that on the southern coast. And so after our boat tour that left from Penzance, we went over to Marizone, I think, over to St. Michael's Mount, which is a really old structure, a lot of really cool history. We couldn't go out to it. There's different points with the tide where it is low enough that you can actually walk out to the island. It's connected to the land, but that was not an option, and they're actually filming part of the Game of Thrones sequel there, so even if it had been low tide, that would have been a no-go because they're doing some cool things there at the moment. But yeah, so we did that, and then we came back to the Airbnb for a while before going to find somewhere for dinner. It was kind of starting to get pretty gross outside, and we ended up getting to go to the Porthmeor Beach Cafe, which is absolutely incredible. It was, again, still completely outdoor seating, but we were facing the water, and because it had gotten so gross that evening, most people weren't really out, so we had a very isolated little seating by the water, and our server was so sweet. She's actually from Northern Ireland, and so we were talking to her about like her traveling. She's lived in a bunch of places, which was dope, and she gave us a ton of Edinburgh recommendations, but she had just moved to Cornwall like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she had been in Edinburgh for a couple of years before that, so she was like the coolest in terms of giving recommendations and just being like amazing. And so yeah, that was a really fun way to kind of end the trip. On Saturday it was misting, but it wasn't that bad. We went back to the same place that we had gotten lunch on the first day because we wanted somewhere covered. And then there were really bad train delays. They'd had to take like an entire fleet off of the rail service. I think they'd like found something on a couple of trains, and I don't really know what happened, but basically there was like one train from down in that area of Cornwall to London all day because they were supposed to all be cancelled, but like one came down to Penzance from London Paddington, and so then it obviously went back since it was already like marked safe to be in commission. But it all ended up working out okay, and like we got lucky. The train that was available was pretty close to the time that we had already like booked originally, but for a minute there we were like, okay, we're about to get stuck in southwestern England without a clue of how to get back because buses weren't running. And I mean, for what it's worth, it all still worked out perfectly, and we had the best trip. I think that it was such a good thing to get to do, and I was really happy about that. tired, just like hung out. But then yesterday we went to a bottomless brunch and that got a little chaotic. It was very fun, but I think that I'm going to be drinking a lot of water for the foreseeable future. We're gonna take a beat, I think, on the alcohol because that was rough. But it was a really fun day and it was beautiful weather yesterday and it's actually really nice today as well. I'm on my way soon. Oh, I need to leave like in 2 minutes to go to dinner. And I'm really excited. I'm really tired. Might have an asthma attack. Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't really have anything else. I love St. Ives. It was beautiful. We love getting to explore a little bit more, and that is that.